session, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, good morning from Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, on the COP27. Myself, Selim Reza, Program Manager, International Bamboo Rattan Organization, INBAR, Beijing, China. We are very happy to honor you of this session on bamboo, the potential of bamboo for the green constructions, as well as the contribution in the economic of the circular economic development. As you know that bamboo have a major role, and the construction is going on since the human civilization. People are using bamboo in the different way. Now, at current moment, the bamboo has given a new shape. The lot of researchers, scientists, among like of you who are working hard, and given the new shape of bamboo in this climate change context. Bamboo is giving creating through green construction on bamboo in the construction technology. We are using for the not only the housing, they are creating the rural livelihood, employment, youth employment, as well as the substitutes of the plastics, as well as the alternative material for the construction sectors. Lot of architectures are working in these sectors, researchers, universities, they are coming up in the new innovations for the sectors. Today we have two parallel sessions. We split it in two parts. Part one will be the construction as a bamboo as a construction material. Will be led by my colleague, and another session will be the part two in the session related to the economic and circular economy development. Bamboo how contributing in circular economy. We have the panelists from the Ethiopia, from the China, Philippines, Myanmar, Uganda, and India, and also the Ecuador. They are our panelists. They will provide and give the presentation. Some presentation will be on virtual, some presentation will be on site, physical, and they will provide your case studies, good learnings, what we are doing around the world that can be replicable on current context for the carbon sequestration as well as carbon neutralization. Now, in this moment, I am requesting to Mr. Masamba Taye, the Executive UN's Climate Change Innovation Hub, sir, for your opening remarks. Please, floor is yours now.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning to the audience, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those that are following us virtually. My name is Masamba Kewei. I'm the project executive of the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub. And we are very pleased to host this session in collaboration with INBAR, organization with which we are exploring possibility to collaborate moving forward. And this is because bamboo is extremely important for us. I would like very quickly to introduce the Global Innovation Hub, what we are doing, and why bamboo is important for us. So the Global Innovation Hub is an initiative of the UNFCCC Secretariat launched at COP26. The main objective is to enhance the way innovation is used to support climate and sustainability, to support people and the planet. And one of the key things that we are trying to do is really to open up the space for innovation, to expand the innovation space to cover the most innovative type of climate action. What is happening currently is innovation is somehow constrained because it is only focusing at the sectoral level, where it will try to improve in an incremental manner current product processes and value chain. And this is a problem because if you only focus at the sectoral level, you can only harness this incremental type of innovation. If you want to expand the space to include the most transformative type of innovation, you need to go back to the core human need and explore how innovation can contribute where product and services have a high carbon intensity. How can we use innovation to support the development and upscale and deployment of alternative value chain that can satisfy the same core human need with, while being aligned with the climate goal and while being aligned with all the other sustainability goals like enhanced biodiversity, land regeneration, and fitting within the planetary boundary. And the focus of the Global Innovation Hub is on 5 core human needs. One is nutrition and health, another one is shelter, another one is access, including mobility, and then leisure and clothing. And what we are doing is try to see how innovation can go back to this core human need like shelter and explore how alternative material, alternative value chain can be developed to satisfy the core human need while being aligned with all the sustainability and climate goal. So if you take the case of shelter, what we are saying, it's good to improve processes within the cement sector, but it's also even better to explore whether we can find alternative materials that can satisfy the core human need of shelter while being aligned with the climate and sustainability goal. This is what justifies the interest that we are having on bamboo, because bamboo has a lot of potential, not only in the build sector, but I was not aware that we can do all these things from bamboo, but it's clear that it can go even beyond the building sector and be used to address a lot of need. So we are very pleased to host this, and we are looking forward, moving forward, to explore options for stronger collaboration between INBAR and the UNFCCC Secretariat. Back to you.
Thank you, Masamba sir, for your heartfelt words, key words for this opening remarks for today's programs. Definitely, we will work closely with the UN Climate Change Innovative Hub for the production of the new innovative products for the climate change context and to neutralize carbon in different way. Now, I would like a request to our, and this is an opportunity to our, for another key speech for the opening remarks, second opening remarks for, I'm request to Professor Liu Yumen, the Director General, Deputy Director General of INBAR. He will give the second keynote address on behalf of the Ali Mchumo, Director General of INBAR. Sir, floor is yours now, sir.
On behalf of the Director General of INBAR, Ambassador Ali Mchumo, it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to the INBAR UNFCCC side event at COP26 Climate Change Conference at Sharif. The International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, INBAR, is an intergovernmental development organization that promotes environmentally sustainable development using bamboo and rattan. It is currently made up of 49 member states. In addition to its secretariat headquarters in China, INBAR has 5 regional offices in Cameroon, Ecuador, Ethiopia, Ghana, and India. INBAR has permanent observer status at the UN General Assembly and the 3 Rail Conventions. Ladies and gentlemen, shelter or housing are basic human needs. Across the world, there are housing shortages, especially in the developing and least developed countries. As you know, the construction sector is one of the main contributors of greenhouse emissions. Bamboo has been traditionally used as construction materials across bamboo growing countries. With recent technology development and innovation, bamboo has been widely used as a modern construction materials in its original forms as well as in constituent forms. Various research validates that bamboo as a green and sustainable material can contribute to alleviate housing shortages, to achieving carbon neutrality and build resilience of communities against climate change, while at the same time propel green economic development. Today, we have eminent experts of bamboo construction as well as policymakers from Africa, Asia, and Latin America to share their experiences and lessons learned. It is our strong hope that the deliberations will be valuable for bamboo growing and bamboo consuming countries. I would like to thank our partner, the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub, for joining hands and co-organizing these sessions. Further, I would like to thank all the supporting organizations for their immense contribution and sustainable efforts. Finally, I would like to announce that in continuation of this collaboration, INBAR and the UN Climate Change Secretariat will soon enter into a memorandum of understanding to formalize our collaboration to promote bamboo as a nature-based solution for climate change mitigation while building resilience to communities and ecosystems. Let's all work together to achieve carbon neutrality. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Lu, for your valuable times and also the provocating introductory remarks that will encourage us further to work more in bamboo sectors. Now, finally, I kindly request to His Excellency Maria Gabriela, the Minister of Urban Development and Housing of Ecuador, to make the keynote address at this session, and the keynote address will be on video. Sir.
De desarrollo urbano y vivienda. Para nosotros resulta sumamente importante participar de esta sesión que se desarrolla como parte de la Conferencia de Naciones Unidas sobre el Cambio Climático COP27. Un especial agradecimiento a la Organización Internacional del Bambú y del Rattan, INBAR, por impulsar este espacio de intercambio. Sin duda, es una oportunidad para fortalecer las alianzas hacia el desarrollo sostenible y enfrentar el cambio climático. El Ministerio de Desarrollo Urbano y Vivienda, como parte del Gobierno de la República de Ecuador, propone una transformación que va de la mano de una nueva visión de la gestión pública de la vivienda. Esto implica una concepción integral del territorio, en donde se concreten las políticas y las estrategias que están orientadas a lograr ciudades y comunidades inclusivas, seguras, resilientes y sostenibles. Hemos asumido liderazgo para impulsar el desarrollo urbano sostenible en nuestro país, fundamentado en la articulación de los diferentes sectores de la sociedad, estableciendo objetivos comunes para lograr ciudades y comunidades sostenibles. Como parte de nuestra política, reconocemos al bambú como un recurso para alcanzar el desarrollo sostenible y para superar la pobreza. Su aprovechamiento representa enormes ventajas en términos sociales, económicos, ambientales y culturales. Sabemos que el Ecuador es uno de los países privilegiados en el mundo por su abundante bambú. Existen alrededor de 600.000 hectáreas de bambú en el territorio ecuatoriano. Además de la materia prima, existen otras condiciones necesarias para garantizar la durabilidad de las construcciones con bambú. El país cuenta con la norma ecuatoriana de la construcción sobre estructuras de caña guadura, la cual proporciona las directrices técnicas y los requisitos de calidad para la construcción con este material. Complementariamente, contamos con mano de obra calificada. Precisamente INBAR, a través del proyecto Escuela Taller para la Construcción Sostenible, ha formado y calificado a un importante número de personas con el apoyo de la Agencia Española de Cooperación Internacional para el Desarrollo AECI. Y es que promover un adecuado aprovechamiento del bambú requiere el fortalecimiento de procesos locales con la ayuda del gobierno nacional. Aquellos procesos de fortalecimiento de capacidades se constituyen en el soporte para promover la construcción sostenible. Estamos trabajando por una nueva concepción de la vivienda de interés social en nuestro país, con tipologías que expresen la identidad cultural, que aprovechen los recursos locales y que incorporen parámetros de sostenibilidad para la reducción de emisiones de gases de efecto invernadero, que como todos sabemos, en un muy alto porcentaje se producen desde el sector de la construcción. Desde el MIDUBI, en articulación con otros actores, estamos trabajando para promover e incentivar el uso de materiales con menor huella de carbono. También para generar comunidades resilientes y fortalecer las capacidades de los gobiernos locales para planificar y gestionar en el territorio con un enfoque de sostenibilidad. En este contexto, dentro del desarrollo urbano sostenible, la economía circular permite repensar el actual modelo lineal de extracción, producción, distribución, consumo, eliminación, mediante un sistema metabólico circular, gestionado y reintegrado responsablemente externalidades negativas, promoviendo la producción sostenible y el consumo responsable. En la política habitacional, estos principios se traducen en varios componentes dentro del ciclo de la producción de la vivienda y del aire. Primero, el diseño bioclimático que aprovecha las condiciones del medio ambiente para generar confort, reduciendo el consumo de energía. Segundo, el incentivo de la utilización de tecnologías constructivas que favorezcan el uso de materiales locales sustentables, es decir, cuyo proceso de extracción, manufactura, uso y disposición final tenga un bajo impacto ambiental. Tercero, el incentivo a la utilización de energías renovables para el abastecimiento de servicios. Cuarto, la generación de programas habitacionales bien localizados en el marco de la planificación de ciudades que permitan reducir el uso del automóvil y aporten a la movilidad urbana sostenible. Quinto, la promoción de la gestión eficiente y sostenible del suelo, promoviendo su aprovechamiento en altura en las zonas consolidadas y reduciendo así la expansión de la mancha urbana. Sexto, la generación de espacios verdes dentro de los programas habitacionales, que promuevan un vínculo cercano y saludable con la naturaleza, satisfaciendo en el mismo lugar las necesidades de recreación. Séptimo, la sensibilización ciudadana y corresponsabilidad, orientada a promover el cambio de hábitos y percepciones tanto en productores como en consumidores. Y por último, octavo, el apoyo y fortalecimiento a los gobiernos autónomos descentralizados municipales del Ecuador, para, en articulación con el gobierno nacional, promover el desarrollo de modelos territoriales sostenibles y resilientes. Todos estos lineamientos permitirán generar cambios a corto, mediano y largo plazo, gestionando y reintegrando responsablemente externalidades negativas relacionadas con el desarrollo urbano, como la demanda creciente del suelo, la energía, los alimentos, el agua, entre otros bienes y servicios. El consecuente aumento de residuos en el marco de la Ley Orgánica de Economía Circular Inclusive vigente en nuestro país desde el año 2021. Estamos convencidos que impulsar la construcción sostenible es también una responsabilidad del Estado, pues contribuye en el cumplimiento de metas ambientales, pero también es una oportunidad para la reactivación económica en nuestro país mediante acciones conscientes y estratégicas. Una muestra de esto es el proceso que se impulsa actualmente como parte del programa de la Presidencia de la República denominado Ciudades del Cambio. En el Cantón Olmedo, en la provincia de Manabí, en articulación con el MIDUBI e INBAR y con el apoyo de la AECI, hemos desarrollado una tipología de vivienda de interés social en bambú. Consideramos al bambú como un noble recurso que se puede manejar adecuadamente y resultar en propuestas de calidad que además impulsan el desarrollo local. Desde nuestro programa
Your Excellency, Maria Gabriela, for your time, and we are very happy to have you on this presentation and your keynote address, and that will enlighten our knowledge and also inspiration to do work in bamboo sectors. We are apologized because it is Spanish, but very soon it will be translated into English and you will be viewed in YouTube shortly. Now, without further delay, at this moment, I would like to hand over this. To Carlos. He will give a brief of the summary of His Excellency's Maria Gabriela's presentation. Please.
Thank you. We'll summarize very briefly. You saw a video. Accidentally, we ran a video without the subtitles, so apologies about that. But this video will be available on the website, and it will be also part of the session that will be corrected so that this is available in English for all participants here. But a very quick summary of the video that you saw. This is a fantastic initiative that has been very visible and very well received in South America. This was, but under the leadership of Ecuador, they implemented an initiative on bamboo for housing, sustainable housing, for settlements, human mobility, providing options for settlements under very challenging situations, but this was based also looking into alternative designs that can reduce the cost and expedite the production of bamboo and construct these beautiful houses by the settlements themselves. The program launched by the President of Ecuador, President Lasso, with the support of the minister that she was also with us in the video. They have trained more than 700 experts in bamboo, and then that was scale up and scale up in a domino effect with a number of technicians and activities across the communities in the tropical Ecuador to make these houses available. The houses are 56 square meters and they have an estimated cost in this context of Ecuador of around $16,000 per family. So this was quite accessible, and if they learn how to produce the bamboo and how to then process it, then of course that cost can be further reduced. So we are very proud to have INBAR and Ecuador, the government of Ecuador, in this room showing and displaying this excellent experience. Thank you so much, and back to you, Selim.
Thank you, Carlos, for your immediate support, so that our audience or participants who are viewers, they can got the overview what the His Excellency Honorable Minister spoke. Now, without further delay, now I request to my colleague Lee Q to moderate the first part of this session, bamboo sustainable construction for the bamboo. Lee Q is the coordinator in INBAR for the construction, and also she is looking after the technical tissue part of the construction material. Lee Q, please hand over to you, for your floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Selim. Greetings from Beijing. The first part of the session will cover the potential of bamboo and the sustainable construction material. We will have technical experts from 6 countries to share the latest construction technologies for building bamboo shelters in different regions of the world. Now let's invite the first speaker, Mr. Luis Felipe, the head of technology of base Bahay Foundation from the Philippines. Felipe is a civil engineer. He began to work with a renowned architect, Sim Velez, in Colombia in 2008. Since 2014, he began to work at base to promote the use of cement bamboo frame technology and has built over 600 bamboo houses in Asian countries. Welcome, Felipe. The floor is yours. 10 minutes.
Thank you, Kewei. So, good morning, everyone. Still good morning, and thank you, INBAR, for having me today here. It's a pleasure to share all this experience with all of you. So let's wait until my presentation. I will do a short introduction about me. I'm Luis Felipe Lopez. I'm originally from Colombia, but living in the Philippines for the last 8 years, working in this wonderful project. Next, please. So I have been working in Philippines with an organization, non-governmental, non-profit called Best Bahay Foundation. This is an initiative of the Healthy Foundation from Liechtenstein, and we have been working doing affordable social housing using bamboo as a structural material. And why we decide to use bamboo as a structural material? Because we have an objective to decarbonize the construction sector, especially in social housing, starting in the Philippines, but we already start projects already in other countries like Nepal. So why bamboo is important for the construction industry? Well, bamboo is a very good resource. It's very sustainable, grows so fast. A species like the species we use in the Philippines grow a rate of 10 centimeters per day, and you can harvest bamboos after 3 years only. So if you compare this with forests of trees, this is totally amazing. But also, when you use the right technology, you can make durable, resilient houses that last forever, or at least for 50 years. That is the minimum time for a structure to be standing and provide shelter to a family. I always think that bamboo can help also the climate change. Our studies, I will show it at the end of my presentation, shows that the technology that we use can reduce the carbon emissions by 70%. But there is a huge problem in the expansion of the construction industry in the world with bamboo, and this is standardization or regulations. So to build in a country, in any country or most of the countries, you need building permits, you need regulations. If you don't have regulations, you cannot get building permits, so you cannot build. So that's a challenge, it's a bottleneck. So fortunately, in the last 20 years, some countries have been working in this. The first country ever to have a construction regulation was Colombia in 2002, and after that, other countries like Ecuador and Peru also joined using the Colombian standards. Recently, India, Bangladesh take the lead in Asia, and recently also by the support of INBAR, strong support of INBAR and the INBAR Construction Task Force, we start to work in the ISO standards, global standards for structural design, for mechanical properties, and a new group of standards for bamboo has been published since 2008. So we are now working in new standards for Philippines, Nepal, and even Mexico is working in their regulations for bamboo construction. But you see, Africa, guys, is totally empty. We need to work in the regulations for Africa, and other Southeast Asia countries like Indonesia, like Thailand, like Vietnam, that has incredible good resources in bamboo, need to work in that. So in the Philippines, because there is no standards yet, we have the opportunity to apply for an accreditation given by the National Housing Authority, and this accreditation allows us to build legally in the country. So these are the kind of houses that we have been building in the Philippines for the last 8 years. As you can see, the houses looks like any conventional concrete house, but the whole structure is made of bamboo. Here, the cement is only used as an skin to protect the bamboo against the environment, to protect the bamboo against the UV radiation and the humidity of the environment. And you can see our projects in Philippines and also in Nepal in the right side of the construction of the slides. Also, we have been building some two-story houses in the Philippines with some of our local partners there, and even a project for indigenous communities. The house in the right was designed in collaboration with these indigenous communities in the country. But this technology, I mean, we have been using bamboo for thousands of years. Humanity has been using bamboo as construction material for thousands of years. But unfortunately, civil engineers never took serious the bamboo as a structural material. And then only in the last 20 years, researchers have been interested in this material as a construction component for buildings. So in Best Bahay, we believe that we still need to work hard to research and get more data to make this technology more understandable for engineers and architects. And that's why we set a laboratory in Manila. It's called the Base Innovation Center. It's a laboratory for sustainable materials. Of course, we are focusing in bamboo. It's our main material, but we are open to other materials. And also for social and affordable solutions. So we are there, we have different partners like local universities. We have 6 local universities, the best universities in the Philippines, and we have 7 international universities working in partnerships with us, like ETH from Zurich, Coventry University from UK, Universidad del Valle from Colombia, Virginia Tech, other more for other countries. And even we have partnerships with other institutions like ARUP. I am member of the ISO Committee for Bamboo Standards. I am member also of the INBAR Task Force. So we have a very close collaboration with these organizations as well. Then in this laboratory, we can do all mechanical properties, connections, and structural component tests. This is important because there is still a lot of gaps in the knowledge of bamboo construction. So in the Philippines, because Philippines is a very challenging country, we need to test our houses to resist typhoons. So Philippines is very challenged because it has earthquakes and typhoons at the same time. And you know, when you have an earthquake area, you need to build light constructions that are lighter. But if you are in a typhoon area, you need heavier construction. So it's a contradiction in a country like the Philippines. Same situation with the Caribbean, for example. They are in a very seismic-prone area, but also they have hurricanes there. So we tested these 3 houses in the Philippines at the beginning of our project in 2013, and the houses were hit by the Typhoon Category 5, and you can see the before and after. There was not significantly big damage in the constructions, and only that small piece of the roof, but traditional vernacular bamboo construction were not able to survive. And this is why, because technology is the solution. Materials are all good. You just need to provide good technology solutions. Just to tell you, these 3 houses already has 9 years old, and they have survived more than 5 typhoons, all of them Category 5, with no damage at all. So the technology work is very strong. And this part is very interesting. It's about carbon emissions. So we are using a natural material for the construction. So bamboo can store CO2 during their life, and if you transform the bamboo in a construction, you can storage that carbon during the lifespan of the building. That's how sustainable construction works. So if you see this graphic, the green line, it represents the bamboo forest that you need to build 1,000 homes per year, more or less 280 hectares of bamboo. So if you don't touch the forest, you will have a permanent carbon storage up to 63,000 tons of carbon constant. But if you start to use those bamboos in construction, 1,000 houses per year, the storage carbon in those houses can increase the storage carbon up to 200,000 tons of carbon sequestered in the houses. So that's how we can do it. And this is just in a period of 40 years. If these houses last for 50, 60, or 70 years, these go up and up and up. So that's how we can reduce the carbon emissions. Right now, 23% of the carbon emissions are coming from the construction industry, mainly from the concrete and cement industry. And we are adding and adding every year more carbon to the atmosphere with the construction industry. We need to change the way we are building houses. We need to introduce more natural ingredients in this diet. We need to put bamboo, we need to put more wood. In tropical countries, we are rich in bamboo, not too rich in forests for construction, but in the North Hemisphere, you are very rich in forests. So you can combine depending where you are. Finally, this is just a short representation. Thank you to Edwin from ETH. He supported me with these numbers. And this is a research doing in ETH Zurich about the money and the resources you need to make this possible. So to make this graphic very simple, you need 278 hectares to build 1,000 houses per year. And in a country like Philippines, we have more than 300,000 hectares of bamboo. So there is enough bamboo to build many houses there. And you need to invest for the plantation only $0.2 million to plant all those bamboos. And if you need to set up a treatment facility to produce those bamboos, you need only $0.16 million to make that possible. And with that, you can produce 80,000 poles per year, and you can build 1,000 poles per year. After 40 years, you can store 142,000 tons of carbon. Let's see the blue line in the bottom. That's a concrete. So to set up a concrete industry, you need $124 million. And that industry can produce even 100,000 houses per year. But after 32 years, you have 38 megatons of carbon in the atmosphere. So I think we need to reconsider the way we are building. And our exercise in Philippines and Nepal is helping us to understand the amount of carbon that we can save. So that's my presentation for today. Thank you very much for your attention. So it was a pleasure.
Have 10 minutes to share your presentation. Now let's welcome Professor Yan Xiao, Program Director for Energy, Environment and Infrastructure Sciences from Zhejiang University, Illinois, and Urbana-Champaign Institute to share their research and practice on developing engineered bamboo. Welcome, Professor Yan Xiao.
Well, thank you, Kewei. Thank you very much for the organizers. But I can't share my slides.
Well, please, UNFCCC connect to help speaker to have the right to share their slides.
Okay, now it's fine. I'm not sure, so. Can you see my slides?
No, you cannot see.
Task Tom. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So, can you hear me? So I'm going to continue.
Good,
Thank
good.
you very much. Thank you, Ms. Liu, for inviting me to this very important session. And as the previous two keynote speaker mentioned, that this bamboo is going to play a very important role. And also my previous speaker, my friend Felipe, has done tremendous work. So I'm going to present the engineering bamboo for structuring buildings. I call it the 3 in. This is my presentation contents. The first one, I'll be very briefly about the background. I think we all know that bamboo are well available in many countries, and particularly in many developing countries. But I would like, this is the distribution of bamboo forest in China. Actually, although there's many bamboo forests available, but the usage of bamboo resources are still at very low, maybe 20%. And showing here is a figure, a photo that I took recently in the forest. As you can see, many of the bamboos are falling down, and because the lack of maintenance, the lack of cultivation, and so basically, if a bamboo is not fully used or not properly used, the bamboo forest will deteriorate. So, so there's still a lot of rooms for mankind to utilize bamboo. This is a research that we conducted about 10 years ago that counting the carbon footprint of engineered bamboo along with other type of construction material. So basically, like timber, engineered bamboo are basically a carbon negative material. And this is why we are paying more and more attention are giving to bamboo. In terms of engineered bamboo, so I think in terms of modern bamboo structure, I think all the bamboo structure designed, manufactured, constructed using our new modern theory and engineering methods can be called modern bamboo structures, including the round bamboo and also engineered bamboo. What we are engineering bamboo is to make bamboo-based laminated materials and structures. This is include, but not limited to ply bamboo or laminated bamboo lumber, glue laminated bamboo, nail laminated bamboo, bamboo screamers, and cross laminated bamboo and timber. Just by the way, those three words are actually created by my group. So we are engineering bamboo, as the keynote speakers mentioned that basically to substitute conventional materials like timber, plastic, metals. Well, actually, all these materials are heavily involved, utilized in the conventional buildings. In terms of industrialization we're actually using bamboo for construction. Basically, we are forming a new industry. But how does new industry compared with existing steel industry, wood industry can be shown in this photo. Basically, include the resource management, member elements, and also design, etc. Very quickly about our research update, and we have done tremendous material testing, and showing here is a very recent test on torsional behavior, a very important subject that has not been paid attention. So based on our research experimental testing and analysis, we have recently developed the design values for engineered bamboo according to Chinese code, the US RFD code, and the Euro code 5 for timber. And so basically now you can roughly design engineered bamboo buildings according to those design values. Some research photos shown here is shear wall testing about the earthquake resistant. This is a composite structure with light gauge steel and applied bamboo sheathing, and fire testing and fatigue testing. And all the bamboo, like the timber, are combustible material, but actually with proper design and protection, they can be well utilized in structures for buildings. Some of the shake table testing, very important for earthquake design. And all the research and also other people's research has been summarized in my recent book published by Taylor and Francis, shown here just for your interest. Would like quickly to discuss some of our recent research on cross-laminated bamboo and timber. Showing here is are two articles published in Nature and Science several years ago about the potential of timber in the high-rise buildings. And this is actually our motivation. So basically, we're inspired by such applications of CLT in timber in Europe and other places, and also availability of bamboo in China, and also the availability of now usable fast-growing timbers. So basically, if we combine these two materials, then probably we can create a composite that can address merits of or doubling or even more merits of the two materials, essentially to cut down the import, relying on import of timbers in China. This is about this cross-laminated bamboo and timber. Inside is the timber, and the surface can be covered by the glue band material. Two types of glue band, thin layered based and thick layer based. So this is what the panel member panels. So what we look at, this is 6 meter long panel that we used, and this glue band surface on the top can be just used as a flooring. As you know, that the bamboo floorings are well available in some of the in US and other European countries now. And some of our research on the basic material testing to look at the interface between timber and glue band, and also we have done thermal testing compared with CLT wall panels and CLBT wall panels, and they are pretty much similar. And using the same panel, we tested for thermal because the materials are still available. Then we also conducted acoustic testing, and shown here. And also if the CLBT used as a flooring, floor slabs, so we need to look at the vibration, and this is a test we recently completed. And we're currently conducting wall panel testing as a shear walls to look at the seismic resistance of various type of CLBT walls. Very briefly about our progress and the challenges. So these are the various projects that we have done for demonstration construction of bridges and buildings. We have worked with INBAR to build the 2 buildings, one in Uganda, one in Kenya. The one in Kenya was built on the campus of President Obama's father's campus, and this is President Obama's grandfather I met when we were doing the project. This building is the building that we built in Beijing Famous Park with INBAR. A recent building to attend the solar decasement computation in China. This is a glue band and combined with solar panels. 2 other buildings we recently completed. Now we are in building a design. We just completed the design of a public building with 2,000 square meters shown here, and we are entering the manufacture and construction phase that probably will be finishing in next spring. And this is probably one of the earliest, or not the first public building. Sure, thank you. And we have a research base in Minhai, Zhejiang province, China. We call it the Zero CO2 base. Currently, we are building 2 buildings. One of this type of a building that combined with glue band and also solar panels. So basically, we're trying to create a zero or near zero CO2 or and near zero energy building. And another high, kind of a tall building with 6 to 8 story high glue band building are being designed, and this is a foundation currently finished. To conclude, based on our 17 years of research of my research group and the collaboration with the INBAR and other organizations on glue band and engineered bamboo, and it is shown that the bamboo can be utilized, engineered and utilized in modern and industrialized building systems and to create a better construction or shelter. There is a potential, maybe tremendous potential of merits of combining rich resources of bamboo and the local wood species, basically to cut down some of the rely of timber, because currently China is the largest timber importer in the world. So hopefully we can cut down some of that reliance to protect the forest, not only in China but also in other countries. By the way, China is the largest, the fastest increasing country in terms of forest, so we can utilize those fast-growing timber. I think it is key, and also pointed by the keynote speaker at the beginning of the session, I think it is key to develop innovative solutions for bamboo-rich regions and countries, particularly the developing countries. Thank you very much. 谢谢. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Professor Yanja's valuable experience on the research of modern engineered bamboo materials as well as innovative structures. Now I will hand over to my colleague Borja de la Peña to moderate the next speaker.
Thank you very much, Kewei. Yes, due to some problems of time, we will go to a speaker of the session 2 of the part 2 of the session because he has to go to another event. So I will give him the floor. Our next speaker is Mr. Joy Day. He's the Deputy Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA. And today he will talk about regional innovations in bamboo production, use, and restoration systems. I would appreciate if you could change the slides to Mr. Joy Day, because I can see on our screen the PPT from Rafael Ascoli. So if we can change the slides, please, colleagues in the Secretariat of UNFCCC, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Buenos dias. It's nice to see all of you. I hope you can hear me. I know it's very loud in this building. My name is Lloyd Day. I represent the ministers and secretaries of agriculture of the Americas. So Canada in the north to Argentina in the south. And in between the two, we have a region known as the tropics, where we grow a lot of bamboo. But we don't just grow bamboo in the tropics. I come from California, and we have bamboo in California too. I had it in my house. And bamboo, I think you're hearing about all the uses of bamboo, from kitchen utensils there to construction to paper to medicine. It's a renewable resource. It's a carbon sink. It grows quickly. So it's a super crop. I'm here with all the ministers of agriculture of the Americas at the COP27 to make clear that agriculture is part of the solution to climate change. We can be a carbon sink. We can reduce emissions. We need food, so we have to have agriculture. We're partnering with Africa. I see potentially a number of people here from Africa. We have signed an agreement with AGRA, and our Director General was in Rwanda earlier this year to discuss how do we build a bridge between Africa and the Americas. And so there's potentially the great opportunity to work on bamboo together. There's also a potential to work with our colleagues in Asia and the entire tropical region so that bamboo can become a next super crop. It's more resilient than cement. Who knew that? Why aren't we using more of it? They've been using it for thousands of years, but we haven't commercialized it. We haven't implemented innovation that the Global Innovation Hub is doing. So we think that this is a great opportunity. We had a presentation about the great things they're doing in Ecuador from one of our member countries. That is a wonderful agricultural. I was just in Ecuador twice in the last month, and I went to a carbon neutral dairy at 10,000 meters or feet by the just the bottom of the Cotopaxi volcano, which is perhaps one of the most beautiful volcanoes in the world. So we at ICA, in representing the ministers of agriculture, are working with them on innovation. Carlos, I think, saw our innovation center. We call it the Center for Interpretation of the Tomorrow of Agriculture. It sounds a lot better in Spanish than in English. Centro de Interpretación de la Mañana de la Agricultura. Everything sounds better in Spanish. But there we're working with the private sector, with big companies and small companies alike, to demonstrate innovation in agriculture. Agriculture can continue to produce and produce more, but with less. So with all of our ministers of agriculture, with partners from around the world, from Africa to Asia to Europe to wherever, we're working to help have a positive impact on agriculture and a positive impact on the climate through the utilization of super crops like bamboo and in collaboration with the UN Global Innovation Hub. So we're very grateful to Carlos and team and the Secretary. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, for having us here today to talk with you. We're willing to partner with institutions, with governments, with private sector organizations from across the world, from Japan, from other places, in order to see how we can help this crop have a positive impact on agriculture around the world. So, muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Carlos, and I'll yield the floor.
Thank you very much, Deputy Director General of ICA, for your remarks and for offering to your support, the support of ICA, to enlarge and enrich the support and the strength of bamboo, not only in Latin America, but also globally with your remarks here today. That we think is very important to have you here, and we appreciate your participation. With that, I would like to give the floor again to my colleague Liu Kewei to introduce our next speaker. Kewei, you have the floor.
Thanks so much, Borja. Now, let's welcome Ms. Bendibeda's video presentation. She is the community leader, graduated and Manabi Sustainable Construction Workshop School. The story is about what INBAR has done for the capacity building of bamboo construction professionals in North America. So, welcome Bendy's video.
Proyecto Escuela Taller Construcciones Sostenibles con Bambú, impulsado por INBAR y apoyado financieramente por la ESID. En la parroquia Calderón, ubicada en la provincia de Manabí, el uso del bambú en los diferentes sitios ha recobrado la antigua tradición de tener este recurso en los elementos cotidianos, como lo ha sido esta estructura. Estas atractivas edificaciones impulsan la construcción sostenible con bambú, y no solo eso, sino que también benefician el medio ambiente y la economía local. Aquí en Calderón los pobladores ya nos identifican. Somos más de 80 personas entre hombres y mujeres, con un mismo objetivo: capacitarnos y promover la mano de obra calificada en construcciones sostenibles con bambú. Te invito a conocernos y el aporte de las mujeres dentro de este proyecto.
La Escuela Taller Construcciones Sostenibles con Bambú busca formar mano de obra especializada y certificada que pueda responder la demanda de las construcciones sostenibles, aportando a la construcción de una nueva visión de desarrollo que incorpora los enfoques de género y comunitario. La inclusión de mujeres en procesos de construcción, que por años han sido realizadas habitualmente por hombres, hoy en esta escuela está transformando realidades y rompiendo esquemas, generando oportunidades para las mujeres y facilitando su inclusión económica y en procesos de tecnificación.
Honestamente le digo que las mujeres han demostrado poner de pronto más empeño e incluso más actitud.
Son más de 80 estudiantes, de los cuales el 21% corresponde a mujeres, que se capacitan en 4 oficios relacionados a las construcciones sostenibles, siendo un aporte significativo a la lucha de las mujeres por alcanzar una vida digna.
En este taller vamos a ver 4 módulos que son ebanistería y carpintería, instalaciones eléctricas, obras civiles y construcciones con estructuras de bambú.
Esta acción es reconocida por sus familias, que se enorgullecen del esfuerzo y compromiso de las mujeres, quienes han encontrado en la escuela taller no solo una oportunidad de formación, sino un medio para emprender, para conseguir trabajo y alcanzar sus sueños.
Yo quería estudiar arquitectura, pero por los recursos económicos y la lejanía a las universidades no pude entrar. Sin embargo, Escuela Taller me está brindando un espacio para convertirme en una constructora con bambú.
Las futuras constructoras se han convertido en un ejemplo a seguir en sus parroquias, que por el rol protagónico que asumieron para llevar a sus comunidades dignidad, justicia y equidad, recibieron el reconocimiento al valor por su aporte a la transformación de imaginarios socioculturales, al tecnificarse en tareas que han sido consideradas tradicionalmente como masculinas, por parte de la Unidad de Gerenciamiento del Programa de Agua Potable y Alcantarillado del GAT Portoviejo.
Habemos muchas mujeres interviniendo en este proceso y a la vez nos inspira porque saber que dentro de poco tiempo nosotros saldremos como futuros constructores en bambú.
Estas guerreras, como cariñosamente les nombran sus compañeros, han demostrado ser hábiles al desarrollar a la perfección uniones y ensambles, demostrando con rendimientos que superan a sus compañeros.
La escuela me ha permitido conocer las habilidades de mi esposa que yo no conocía de ella.
Juntos vamos a construir una asociación para que así podamos darle más trabajo a personas de nuestra comunidad y de nuestra parroquia.
Siendo muestra viva de que las desigualdades como proceso de construcción cultural pueden ser transformadas con acciones concretas en las que participen los y las titulares de derechos. Verlas trabajar con tanto entusiasmo y seguridad, confiando en su preparación, en tierra y en las alturas, es admiración de propios y extraños. Escuchemos el relato de estas guerreras.
Representando también a la escuela taller, me fui a Las Tunas, a la construcción de los bambuceros, donde aprendí cosas novedosas, cosas que jamás me imaginé que iba a aprender.
Yo creo que la edad que yo tenga no me va a impedir a seguir adelante, a generar recursos, a ayudar en mi hogar y así mismo a la gente de la comunidad.
Thanks a lot for Bendy's presentation. We believe the growing up of young generation will greatly promote the development of bamboo construction sector in North America. So let's move to next speaker, Friday Joe, who is the managing director of FOB Consult Limited from Uganda. He has been working on promoting affordable housing, prototypes of bamboo houses, as well as encouraging the community to adopt bamboo houses in Uganda. The floor is yours.
Thank you. When I was growing up, the weaver bird was my favorite bird. Ironically, my love and hatred for the bird was in equal measure. Why do I love them? One, because they are very beautiful and attractive. But two, their social work ethics is so exciting and inspiring. Three, they produce masterpiece architecture with intricate details from fiber that is plucked from palm tree leaves. I also hated them because as a young man, they made me forfeit playtime with fellow children because I had to trek over 5 kilometers every day to scare them away from our corn plantation. That was painful to me. Another issue, these birds choose our corns over the beautiful palm fruits for which they could potentially be agents of propagation, yet this is their habitat. Finally, in spite of producing masterpiece architecture, these birds abandon their nest after only one season of breeding, and this is not sustainable. The birds aside, I come from a community in the northern part of Uganda. This community is well endowed with natural bamboo resources, and it lives adjacent to natural bamboo forest. Like the weaver bird, this community shares strong attributes with the bird. The community's livelihood revolves around bamboo. But today, our focus is going to be the traditional architecture of the community. This community use social strategy to construct the houses, the huts in which they live. And they harvest the material as a group and use a social and communal approach to build and craft beautiful huts out of this bamboo, more especially the roof, but also they build the walls out of earth reinforced with the bamboo. Apart from that, those who choose to enclose their homesteads also weave their fence using bamboo. Apart from that, it is the spirit of this community to construct outdoor bathrooms, and these bathrooms are beautiful woven. They also build granaries in which they keep their food, the poultry houses, but also, interestingly, the food bridges that make them cross to their gardens, to their schools, health centers, and markets are beautiful, constructed out of bamboo. And they use this bamboo in various forms, in whole columns, in split forms, or woven panels. The challenge with the traditional architecture is that their approach is not very sustainable because of the method they use. The traditional architecture is treated as a temporary construction, but at the same time, it is also considered a material for the poor. And the issues that affect them, one is about the selection of the bamboo. For construction, you have to select very mature bamboo. Many occasions, the community have very mature bamboo resource they are able to access, and that is younger than 3 years. They also use middle to top parts of the bamboo for construction, which is not the best. High quality bamboo is from the bottom section, which they discard because they had to transport the bamboo down from the valley to their homes, and yet the bottom part is very heavy for them to carry. Also, the manner in which the forest resource is managed affects quality of construction. For high quality bamboo, you have to maintain the forest very well, but poor management results to poor quality bamboo, which leads to poor quality construction. There is an issue of preservation. Not all the bamboo poles are treated before construction. If at all they are treated, rudimentary approaches are used, more especially smoking, which does not provide any aesthetic appeal after completion. Finally, the poor design considerations. When you are designing for bamboo, you have to provide for the weather elements. That means large roof overhangs, and this is not provided for in the design of traditional bamboo. All these factors lower the reputation of bamboo, and so many people run away from bamboo houses. The good news is that about 2016-17, INBAR entered East Africa, and they approached this community through Friends of Bamboo, and it transferred the technology and gave a lot of capacity building to the community. one of which is provide clean preservation technology to the community that they use for treatment of bamboo, but also train the community in various ways of constructing with the bamboo. There's also provision of standards. These constructions are guided by ISO 22156 standard in the construction. That aside, for the interior design, we have furniture and woven crafts that were taught and it is being practiced. So there are some examples in which we apply this knowledge that we acquired, a more special application of bamboo as structural elements in roof truss construction and the column constructions. We use also bamboo in shear wall construction where we have a grid of split bamboo cast with the cement mortar to install as walls. Space structure, after splitting, we use that for construction of domes, greenhouses, but we also use the bamboo for construction of floorboards, for creating modern fence. We also realize that bamboo is an amazing insulation material, more especially in the hot regions, where we use it as a roof cover to provide thermal insulation to buildings. Some of the examples of buildings that we've done out of bamboo, the cottages, we apply bamboo in building stairs, in shading. This is a typical low-cost housing that we did in Moyo. We use bamboo in construction of pergola in Reza hospitality. Our latest project is a multi-purpose hall that we are building in Sina Social Innovation Center, supported by Africa Arise. What paradoxes to scaling up bamboo in East Africa? One, many members of society still want nothing to do with bamboo. Much of this reputation has to do with how poorly the materials is used. This is a call to the professionals in design and construction to have a duty to demystify the reputation. But there's also limited skilled labor force in the bamboo technology in the job market. Bamboo technology skilling was proposed to be included in the teaching curriculum of vocational tertiary institutions in Uganda. The proposal is in the national bamboo strategy of the country, and we are encouraging governments to embrace these kind of policies and fast track the implementation to have a stock of skilled labor force. The awareness of the amazing bamboo qualities and benefits are still very low, so there's a need for deliberate mobilization efforts to create more awareness and demonstrate bamboo as a tool to fight climate change, poverty, and housing deficits. Bamboo also lacks affirmative action and incentives in spite of the massive environmental, social, and economic advantages it offers.
You just have 1 minute.
So governments in developing countries should deliberately provide promotion schemes to ensure that bamboo is promoted. And finally, the authorities, more especially in East Africa, are encouraged to either adapt or adopt national standards for approval of as construction material. We already have ISO 22156 in place, which can be adopted as a national building code in the countries. This will confidence in the material to be utilized in the region. With that, we believe the sky is the limit as far as bamboo construction is concerned. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for previous presentation. So now let's welcome Kiki Das, who is an international consultant on green rural housing. He worked with international agencies such as UNDP, UN Habitat, Asian Development Bank, and etc. to interpret and adapt traditional knowledge of shared building in today's context. Welcome, Kiki Das.
Thank you. May I have my presentation on, please?
Yes, the colleague of UNFCCC, please share.
No,
For
I
now,
can't.
You can just
Okay.
have the sharing, right?
Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
We can see the screen, but we cannot see your PPT.
Can you see the presentation?
No.
Just a minute.
The colleague of UNFCCC, could you help? Or the PPT?
If they make a if they can show my presentation. Hello.
I think the colleagues from UNFCCC can provide support by putting the PPT, and then you just tell them to pass the slides.
Dear Mr. de la Peña, Mrs. Kenley, yes, we are projecting now. Bear with us. Thank you so much. Do you see the screen? The presentation is projected here on site.
Yes. Yeah, I can. Yeah, yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening from my part of the world, New Delhi, and welcome to this presentation on bamboo. Now, let me tell you right in the beginning that I'll be making the presentation under two heads. First, I'll take you around the domain of rural housing in India. Then I'll tell you a short story about what is stopping bamboo from wider application. Next, please. In 2011, we had 3.06 million houses in India, out of which 30% were having a temporary wall. And to get out of this situation, Government of India had launched a program under which 30 million houses are being supplied to the people below poverty line, and the entire program is owner-based. Next, please. It's a huge sum of money, which is an excellent opportunity for improving the living conditions of the people. However, it could be a threat to the environment if not designed prudentially. So the balancing act. Next, please. These are the 18 states of India where the program was launched. And unlike other top-down programs, this is a completely bottom-up, where we went to the doorsteps of the people, organized a participatory design exercise where people were the designers and we were the facilitators. This was followed by resource mapping exercise to identify the local materials and technologies. Next, please. The result: 64 housing zones and 130 zone-specific designs prepared by the people, and 40 alternative technologies based on local materials and technologies. Next, please. Consumption: 295 billion bricks and 3.7 billion cement, billion bags of cement. These are the consumptions. Most of them are non-renewable energy and carbon dioxide emission intensive. Next, please. Many of the states will emit to the order of 35 to 40 million tons of carbon dioxide because of this program, and brick and cement are the major contributors, hence we need alternatives. Next, please. If you take a 25 square meter house in India using brick and cement, then it will cause an emission of 11.3 metric tons. And my personal experience of using bamboo and CACB, it is reduced by 40%. This is not a theoretical figure, but the actual implemented project figure. Next, please. If we assume that 20% of the target of this Indian rural housing is based on local materials and technologies, then bamboo alone will be able to generate 100,000 working days, which is 15% more labor intensive than conventional technologies. Next, please. If there is so much of advantage of bamboo in every respect, why don't we see too many bamboo houses under this program? Let me tell you the story about that. Next, please. You see two triangles on the right-hand side. The upper triangle is the government, and the lower triangle represents the people. And the red circle is a juncture which is called Block Development Office, the last interface between the government and the people, where policies are translated into reality. My story will be around that circle because I sit in the rural area and build with the people. Left-hand side, you can see the key role players in housing. Next, please. In many cases, my proposal for housing has got bounced off from the state level because of a number of reasons. Some of the reasons I have cited on the right. Housing is a politically sensitive issue, and every government is in a hurry to supply the houses at the earliest. Because of the pressure of time, most of the time, cement and bricks, they get a higher priority because the engineers are comfortable with that and they are available in the market. Bamboo gets the second bench. There are other notions. For example, people think that RCC is permanent, it is a status symbol, but not everywhere the situation is like that. There are success stories as well. For example, Tripura, a small northeastern state of India. Let me tell you a story of Tripura. Next, please. Way back in 2014, I was appointed by UNDP and the government of India to help the state government implementing their rural housing project. Organize the resource mapping exercise where people were the designers and I was a facilitator. Next, please. The technologies were based on local materials, and I particularly emphasized on revitalizing the ancient wisdom in house building. Next, please. I got 7 generic designs by the people and a couple of local specific technologies. Next 11 months, I had to run from pillar to post to get a green signal for bamboo housing. Eventually, towards the end of the year, I got a nod from the government. Perhaps government people were sick and tired of seeing my face number of times. I grabbed the chance. Next, please. Organize the training program. Dr. Selim Reza, who is there, he was my main pillar of this entire thing. He organized the training program. Next. We emphasize quite a lot on the artistic joint detail. Next. Procured the bamboos, treated the bamboos, prepared the bamboo trusses and other components. Then there was a problem. Next. The lady is sitting on the chair. She's a local leader, a school teacher also. She came and told me, I will not let you build with bamboo because bamboo is temporary. I was trying to convince her, but she was more into talking to the bamboo workers who hailed from the same village and trained by us. And the lady was looking at the quality of the bamboo, observing smoke coming out while the bamboos were drilled. After about an hour and a half, she smiled at me and said, okay, you can go ahead. After that, there was no stopping. Next, please. Walls were raised. The house was completed. Next, please. The photo that you see on the right is 6.5 years after the building was constructed. This was taken by the government investigation team who wanted to check on the durability of bamboo. Fortunately, we passed. Next, please. These are some of the completed houses. Next, please. These are the cost and area figures. I'm not going to read out. I have given the US dollar to INR conversion. So you can look at it in your leisure time. Next, please. These are the lessons learned. You see, barring the community leaders, the rest of the key role players, they had transformation of mind. From their apprehension on bamboo, there was some degree of confidence in bamboo houses. Let me read out the shaded box for you. Seeing the day-to-day development of bamboo production, the block development officers, they became the champions of bamboo and CSCB. Today, they are in different districts. They are the brand ambassadors of bamboo. Next, please. I thought there will be at least 1,000 buildings after this one. It didn't happen like that. Towards the end of
Borja, we lost the presenter, the speaker, so.
Okay. I can see the speaker. The speaker is there.
We lost him.
We'll go to the next speaker then.
Okay. Now let's move to the next speaker because we cannot hear the picket us. Next speaker is Mr. Rafael Ascoli, co-founder of Housing Now. He is a young architect in Myanmar who specializes in bamboo construction. He is promoting the construction of sustainable houses with structural frames which can be created from small diameter bamboo species. Welcome, Rafael.
Yes, Borja, before we move to the next speaker, Rafael, I apologize, we are running out of time. Sorry to jump in. Very happy to have you. We can see you and see your slides, but we would like you to try to summarize your presentation as we need to move forward with the rest of the speakers. The floor is yours, Rafael. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Very well.
Okay, thank you so much. So 大家好，我是莫海峰，海边的海，山峰的峰，谢谢你刘科伟帮助安排这个活动。我是法国建筑师和城市规划设计师。So hello everyone, my name is Raphael. I'm a French architect. I've been based in Yangon, Myanmar since December 2016. Started an architecture design studio called Blue Temple, and we've been focusing on bamboo construction ever since. This is our first project we've built in 2017. It's a playground in a middle school in Yankin Township, which is north of Yangon. It basically is a series of games to create a parkour-like playground where kids can play in a very interactive and spontaneous way with the playground. And it was quite successfully appreciated by the community, who later came back to us and asked us to build a full-on public space in the middle of the city, which we did in 2019. It took us a couple of years for fundraising. And here you can see the Chinlong. Chinlong is a local traditional Myanmar sports. And we built a sports ground that also serves as a community center, all in bamboo. And we've innovated to build this structure in new bending techniques. In this case, it was pre-stressed bamboo construction. And to do this, we used a new technique which is pressurized water vapor that is pushed into the bamboo to homogeneously heat and moisturize it for better bending. The structure itself was inspired by like Myanmar traditional scaffolding, Myanmar bamboo scaffolding, which is used for renovating Buddhist pagodas throughout the country. And so we hollowed out the scaffolding, and then it created this atrium with an oculus where lots of different types of programs can take place inside of. And this leads us to our project for Housing Now. So since the 1st of February 2021 military coup, followed by a nationwide civil war in Myanmar, there's been a tremendous increase in IDPs, internally displaced populations in the country. There are now more than 1 million IDPs in Myanmar. And so what we're trying to put in place is a large-scale production of low-cost bamboo housing in the country. So it's interesting if we start like overlapping different maps on top of themselves. For example, the places where bamboo is a native plant with the places where most of IDP camps are located, we can see a lot of crossovers. So if a project were to tackle refugee housing using bamboo, that project could potentially have international agency. Our first step in this project was to study vernacular architecture and look at the local housing typologies. In this case, we researched on Myanmar Kaching Longhouse, which is the province north of Myanmar at the border with China. And it's a very interesting building typology because it's elongated, it's modular, it can vary over time, and the program instead articulates itself in a very spontaneous way. The second source of inspiration was looking at the availability of natural resources on the market. In this case, we're looking at the abundant and untapped small diameter bamboo. It's very cheap to buy. It's probably 10 times, 15 times cheaper than conventional bamboo. So if we were to find a way to utilize this material in creating affordable housing, we can lower the cost of the construction. by a lot. And obviously, when we talk about small diameter bamboo, we talk about bundling and also interweaving of bundles. This was a long-term research project that we've done in developing different sequences of interweaving of bundles into these joints that are monolithic. So we're creating structural frames that are actually not, that are more resilient to damage compared to more conventional construction materials like smaller diameter bamboo. Because it's a more monolithic, so it acts as a whole, structurally speaking. And to start the design of these structural frames, we use topology optimization softwares in computational design, and it generated the optimum shape that responds to these different loads that we're applying onto the frame, such as live loads, dead loads, wind loads, etc. And then the computer generated a certain shape that later, of course, we need to prototype to test it structurally speaking, but it's a starting point from which we had to simplify the design, interpret the design in order to make the fabrication more easier. So here is the simplified version of it. And it's a modular system, so inspired by the kitchen longhouse.
Please speed up your presentation.
I'm trying as much as I can. Okay, so I'm going to speed up a bit more. And it's a hybrid construction process going from prefabrication to on-site assembly together with the local community who can decide on the design of the floor, the walls, the roof. Here's a series of 1-to-1 scale prototypes we've built over the years to test each joint of the house using these small diameter bamboo bundled structures. And then we've done also some structural testing, putting some weights and pulling to imitate wind loads. This is our first house that we've built in Bago region, north of Yangon. And then finally, our first refugee camp preschool that we've built a couple months ago. And now we're building a 4-unit orphanage in the same camp. We're building now these houses for $1,000 per house unit, and it takes about 1 week to assemble together with the local community. And then here we're preparing for our next coming project in our bamboo workshop in Bago. And then off it goes on the transportation to the new site. So thank you so much for this event. Please contact me if you want to continue this conversation. Thanks.
Thank you very much for all the speakers. Excellent presentations on bamboo construction. I will hand over to my colleague Borja de la Peña to moderate the part 2.
Thank you very much, Kewei, and thank you to all the speakers for their fantastic inputs in the construction part. Now I will go to part 2, where we will deliberate on the policies, strategies, and other tools that have been developed and applied by INBAR member states aimed at scaling up the use of bamboo as a nature-based solution to solve the shortages of housing, as well as replacing energy-intensive materials. We're also gonna hear some new innovative policies on incentives and non-fiscal incentives that apply also for incentivize the bamboo sector, stimulate the bamboo sector, which we think is also very important to share with all of you. So with that, I want to give the floor to Mr. Tom Obong Okello. He's the Executive Director at the National Forestry Authority of Uganda. He has 30 years of experience and knowledge of the natural resources management, and he will deliberate today on the bamboo strategy development and its implementation in Uganda. Mr. Okello, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Borja. Good afternoon, good morning to our listeners. Because of time, I'm not going to dwell so much on the slides. I just want to give you a summary of what Uganda is doing to produce the material which can be used for what you have just been seeing since the beginning of this session. Bamboo used in Uganda, my colleague here has talked about it, is traditional. And we have been having communities using naturally occurring bamboo stands. In Uganda, we have 2 indigenous species. One is called Usania alpina, which is the island bamboo. And then the island bamboo occurs mainly in the mountainous area, in the areas which is on the western part of the country. and then the eastern part on the Mount Elgon area. And then in the northern part, we have the lowland bamboo, which is called the species Oxytenathra abyssinica. All in all, the country has about 55,000 hectares of naturally occurring bamboo stands. And here we are talking about a collaboration which we have with INBAR under the Dutch Sino-East African Development Program, which is covering China, Netherlands, and then the three Eastern African countries of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda. One of the key output of this collaboration is the development of the Uganda National Bamboo Strategy and Action Plan 2019 to 2029. I want to briefly talk about this action plan. And we are saying under the action plan, the goal is to ensure coordinated development of the bamboo industry. And we are targeting using bamboo as one of the nature-based solutions crops, where we intend to restore 15% of our bone challenge 2.5 million hectares using bamboo by 2030. We also, this one is translates to about 375,000 hectares of bamboo. We also expect to create about 150,000 full-time jobs, and then we want to plant at least about 230,000 hectares of bamboo on farm. So these are the key highlights of what we expect from that strategy. And what we are doing, we want to upscale the domestication of the different species. I've told you we have only 2 species which are indigenous. Now we have introduced another 25 species which we are doing research on. We are doing the species site matching to see where they can perform best. And those are the 5 bamboo zones which we have done in the country. We want to multiply the stock. To multiply the stock, we want planting material. One of our biggest challenge is getting the planting materials. As I talk now, bamboo seedlings is about 15 times more expensive than the seedlings of pine, for example, or eucalyptus. So it is something which we are trying to multiply the stock, and especially of the species we are introducing. We want to do innovations in the value chain development, where we want to encourage the small to medium enterprises development, and then also to encourage zoning of the country, which I've already talked about. And then on your right, on your left is the bamboo village. That is one of the tourism facility around our prime national park. That is the Mchumo Falls National Park. Next time you visit Uganda, you can stay there. It is the bamboo village. And we are encouraging the use of bamboo materials which are on the table there. We want to use bamboo as one of the nature-based solution crop because it grows very fast. It is renewable, and then it can give us variety of products, as you can see on the other side. We are developing standards. Our friend who made the first presentation talked about standards and regulations. To date, we have developed 10 standards for the different products which we can get out of bamboo, because we know with that you can now sustainably encourage investment in the bamboo industry in the country. We are allowing people to grow bamboo in the forest reserves, in the government forest reserves, through long-term leases and licensing, just because of shortages of land, because of the increased population in the country. So this is one of the areas we are exploring to encourage the development of the crop. And our strategy, we want a private sector-led approach. We want the private sector to lead in the development of the bamboo industry. And we are focusing on the small to medium enterprises for domestic markets, but also we are looking at the long-term focus of encouraging large-scale production for the regional and then international markets. And we are also encouraging the development of bamboo within the school system to increase awareness and also to teach people about bamboo propagation and then these products which you can get from bamboo. Already we are piloting one curriculum development in the forest college, the only forest college in the country, where we want to include bamboo education as part of the strategy. And we want to develop the South-to-South cooperation. I've already shown you some linkage which we are having, but that one has also a North cooperation with the government of Netherlands. We are doing tailor-made training for the different enterprises and then the people involved in the value chain development. And finally, we are doing the ICE materials to increase awareness. As Ijo put it, people are not aware of what can come of bamboo in the country. Now, we also want to attract investments. Recently, we received a big group of investors from the Republic of Ethiopia who came to visit Uganda and also to learn from what we are doing. We are trying to do conducive tax regime and see if we can give tax release for development of the bamboo value chain and industry. Finally, all is not a bed of roses. We are having some challenges, a lack of awareness, the high cost of planting material, the limited access to finance, and then the lack of knowledge on the site species matching, and then the shortages of land, which is affecting the large-scale production of bamboo. I thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okello, for setting up the ground of what has been done in the strategies in Uganda and what needs to be done still for a progressive growth of the bamboo sector in your country. Thank you very much for being with us. Our next speaker is the former Minister of Agriculture and Livestock of Ecuador, and he is also the former chair of INBAR Council. He is an agricultural engineer. During his term in office as minister, he brought very positive changes and innovations in the bamboo sector with the development of policies that created the basis for the development of the bamboo sector in Ecuador. The presentation, he has made the slides in English, but he has presented in Spanish. Therefore, let me present a brief summary of it for those who don't speak Spanish. The minister basically has highlighted the achievements during his term in office, which started with the development of a bamboo strategy or a policy, a bamboo policy, 2018-2022, in which includes the managing of the technical information and the formulation of actions and the roadmap for the development and the growth of the bamboo sector. Very importantly also, he included the first financial and non-financial incentives, which included microcredits for small, micro, and medium enterprises, up to $150,000, developed by the banks in Ecuador, by public banks, with 10 years term and a 3-year grace period at a rate which started, this is a case study very interesting, it started at 9.76% of interest rate. However, now, after 4 years, it has been decreased to between 4 and 5%, which is very positive for the producers in Ecuador. Let me also introduce to you the achievements. Some of the achievements of the bamboo policy included interinstitutional alliances to strengthen the bamboo sector. For instance, the creation of national roundtables have been very important to establish what is needed on the ground, to identify the needs of the producers, to identify the needs of the enterprises, as well as of consumers. We have managed to spread information, working very closely with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Environment to provide technical assistance and financial assistance. We have also worked with the Ministry of Agriculture to train technicians within the ministry, which have been very useful to replicate these experiences in different provinces. Of course, we also identified, the minister identified some challenges which include, as Mr. Okello mentioned in his speech, the promotion of the demand of internal and external markets, the strengthening of commercial alliances with markets, the guarantee of appropriate uses of the country's bamboo areas. That is very important also, not only to identify the resources, but to pull them together, to channel them towards a particular industry. In this case, in Ecuador, the main industry currently is being the housing sector. Therefore, the 600,000 hectares that available of bamboo wadwa in Ecuador, they are spread in different parts of the country, but we, with the ministry, help to create cooperatives that are working together to pull all the resources together to identify the best techniques, the quality material used for bamboo housing. So we have worked with the ministry to identify 7 dimensions of economic and social potential to enhance agro-productivity, support organizations and the participation of associations to trade, to improve trade and to improve the conditions. We have also incentivized incomes and employment to promote economic development in poor areas and support vulnerable communities. Of course, the Minister of Agriculture works hand in hand with the Ministry of Housing to support industrial innovation and provide ecological material to reduce the housing deficit and increase employment rates. That is also helping health and environmental protection by supporting the recovery of eroded soils and to increase the carbon sequestration to mitigate greenhouse emissions. Lastly, it is also important to promote the empowerment of farmers, of youth, of women, to improve their livelihoods, which is what we are working for. And of course, to improve education. Education is crucial to replicate experiences. We have developed the workshop school together with the Ministry of Housing and the Ministry of Agriculture with the support of the Spanish Cooperation Agency, which is helping us to have the manpower needed to support all these processes of construction, no? Supporting young people to train themselves as well as teach others who will also replicate the experiences all across the country in different provinces. So this is basically the presentation of the Minister Xavier Lazo, who I want to thank, but we didn't have time, and also his presentation was in Spanish, so I do it on his behalf. And let me close, before I give the floor to Carlos for his closing remarks, I want to thank him very much for the support provided to us to organize this event. I think it has been a pleasure for all our INBAR colleagues to work with UNFCCC, also with Sylvia and the colleagues from the Global Innovation Hub. And I want to thank him, and I look forward to our collaboration in the future. Thank you, Carlos. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Borja. Actually, we were very fortunate to identify this potential partnership. We are very much looking forward to enhance our collaboration. As you know, this is a COP that is labeled as the COP of implementation. Much space has been given to agriculture and forestry land use, and within that context, then bamboo is proven to be a very, very impactful climate solution, and we would like really to help and provide this platform for all the solutions providers to come to reflect on what are the barriers for implementation, to capitalize the expertise that these partners have over the years. They have collected all the technology, all the knowledge that is required. So one of the interesting presentations that we saw from Mr. Das is them with all of these benefits, then what prevents us to scale up and to move forward. And this is what we want to do at the Global Innovation Hub. is to identify the space, to identify these barriers collectively, and to open up spaces for innovations where we can all collectively work and address the barriers together. Not only technological barriers, but barriers that are connected to business models, to innovation on policies, innovation on leadership, and so on and so forth. So this space is for integrating innovation. Maybe before giving my last key message to close this session, I'd like to recognize that we have engineered this session. As you could see, we have more than 11 actors participating in different formats. It's been quite challenging, but it gives a little bit the message of the importance and the potential that we have to activate the networks and put the networks at the disposal of parties. They are now looking into the best ways to come with revised NDCs, amplify the ambition that is required as per the science, and of course this strong network will help countries, particularly those in Global South, to identify this solution and scale up. So this is very much connected to the COP27 narrative. Thank you so much, INBAR. Thank you so much to the speakers. We will make sure that these presentations, all the videos will be available. And this is only the beginning, because we are putting together a work plan that is very ambitious for COP28. So please stay tuned, contact us, and we need to identify these solutions for core human needs, focusing not only on shelter, but also on biodiversity and land use regeneration. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Liu, Kewei, for your patience and for your excellent moderation, Borja, and the whole INBAR team. We look forward to formalize our collaboration. Thank you, everyone.